Water. It always finds its way, and once it does, the amount of damage it can do to a house if left unattended is absolutely crazy. I see it time and time again: old builds, new builds, renovations, extensions, and ultimately these sorts of things ruin the trust between poor workmanship, dodgy tradies, cutting corners. I've seen it all. In Australia, waterproofing makes up for roughly 2% of a full house's build cost, yet makes up for 80 to 85% of insurance and defective claims across Australia. There's many reasons what's wrong with the building industry and what is also wrong with waterproofing, but there's one main reason that always comes to mind for why we have so many problems in the industry when it comes to waterproofing, and that is mandatory inspections. When I say Australia, I'm from Victoria, down south. I'm specifically referring to that normally, but I'm pretty sure it follows the same rules around all of Australia. Mandatory inspections, there's only 3 main ones, and then it doesn't come back to CFO, which is at the very end. Your first one, pre-still. Within a couple of days of each other, the next inspection is still, and then shortly follows, once the slab has been poured, frame inspection. From this point on, the next inspection is CFO, which is certificate of occupancy, and some white knight comes in, gives you your keys, says, "Congratulations, mate, here's your house, it's fine." From this bare frame, so many things happen, and although none are structural, some can cost homeowners and builders thousands of dollars down the line. Roof, gutters, external cladding, insulation, electrical, plumbing and gas roughing, lock-up, plastering, painting, waterproofing, tiling, cabinetry, fit-off. Not a single mandatory inspection until the very end. In today's video, I'm going to be running down step by step from start to finish how I waterproof all my bathrooms, including all water stops, following regulations, and showing the processes of how, even though it may be overkill, the steps I go to ensure I'll never have to come back for a water-related issue. Hope you enjoy. Let's go through insurance company, which used to be VMIA, but it's recently formed with the BPC in Australia anyway, in Victoria more specifically. But I'll run through just what the waterproofing process looks like. A lot of people think it's just a paint roll and a brush and anyone can do it. And while I guess that's true, it's much more technical than it does seem. The bathtub is still there, which is fine, but obviously gonna have to tend to that and make sure it's all watertight and sealed. When you've got a shower base, I instantly always say that it makes it a little bit more technical. This one's pretty straightforward, but 90% of your water problems usually come from the shower base and the actual shower walls themselves. We've got a niche, which I'm gonna have to waterproof up as well. So the very first part of waterproofing is just to scrape the floor, because you need to get rid of anything, especially any plaster. It's going to be very important down here. So I've got to clean and prime this so I can poly it to get it water sealed, and I'm going to have to tape this up, get some primer in there. But firstly, to do that, I'm going to have to clean up all this silicone at the moment because it's too messy, and obviously it won't be a clean bond and the tape won't even stick too well. You really want to check and make sure as well that there's enough screws so you don't have that bounce, because flex like that over time could split the waterproofer. Not as high risk probably in this area here, but you really want to check these shower bases. You can see that this has been grounded down pretty well, sort of falls in there. For an enclosed shower base, which essentially means fully enclosed with the shower screen and a door, the fall is 1 in 100. If it was an unenclosed, which means it just has a screen and no door separating it, it would be 1 in 80, the fall. For this one, obviously it's a shower based tile, so you need to waterproof it, and then regulations as well. We're going to need to put a water stop in the shower base and a water stop here as well. because it's just tiles on the shower walls and it's not floor to ceiling wraparound, it would just be tiled skirts to finish off. Normally I'd run my waterproofer, especially if it's a wraparound. The shower base is 900mm off of that wall. I would run it all the way past here, it wouldn't matter because tile's going to cover it anyway, so you can just go like crazy. But because it's only shower walls, I've got to measure 900mm now and then make level fall back towards that way so that you won't see waterproofer over your tiled edge. So that will be the same on both sides, and then obviously I've got to get my 1900 mark as well to make sure that there's no waterproofer at that height either. Now it's time for some primer. This is Davco Prime X, which is a bonding agent. You cut in for brush, you cut in all your internal corners, your lines, and then you just get a foam roller and roll out the last little bits. And for its tiled skirts, you basically just do the thickness of the brush, 50mm. It will go up a little bit more, you probably get 60mm. Tiled skirts in Australia is generally 100mm, so you obviously don't want to see waterproof or primer above that line either. We're getting heaps of that primer really in there because we're going to have to poly that and you're going to want a strong bond there. This is what a fully cut in bathroom looks like. So now all we need to do is get our roller, roll it out, and then we're going to wait half an hour to dry. That's what sucks about just doing one room, as opposed to if this is a new build and I was doing that water closet there, another bathroom, a laundry. While this is drying, I'd move to the next one, move to the next one, move to the next one, and by the time I got back here, I'd be able to start waterproofing. But because this is the only room I'm doing today, we'll roll it out and then we're going to have to wait half an hour for it to dry. You can see here where the existing hole has been taken up and the glue has been removed. There's a bit of a dip. You really want to make sure that you get primer in there as well. It's fully primed and ready to be polyurethane and then ready for some waterproofer. So I've got to wait half an hour for that to dry. What we'll be using is a Sikaflex Pro. Have a video get the view. So that seals it up really nicely, especially when you do your waterproofing now. Only needs to be in the shower base, so I just run it past. See now, that's really nice sealed up, and then you waterproof over the top of that 3 times as opposed to what it looks like before, so it's all exposed. The poly's all done and now we're ready to waterproof. So what we'll do is get our paper tape and you dry run everything, just makes it easier. From this point on, it's pretty straightforward in general. This one's a pretty straightforward one. The only technical thing I'd say that's left is this shower niche, and that's because it's just plaster. A lot of them these days are those pre-done shower niche things, and they're waterproof and you won't have to do all the extra paper tape and stuff to get it ready like this one. I'll show you the process for what that looks like. So for here it's quite simple, just paper tape, and it's also straight. So what I like to do is get a nice clean edge for sharp lines. Get rid of that. And then all we're doing is putting that all the way in the corner and rolling out. So now we go over there for measurement. Mark that straight. These just fold in half. So get your line. And then do it all the way through. And that'll just go in like so. In the actual shower base, we use mesh. And with the mesh, the same thing as doing the paper tape. So we want to we've got one internal corner, so we want to make a corner quickly, which is pretty easy to make. Give that a slice down the middle. And we'll finish that off in a sec. That's our waterproofer, Davco K10 Plus with the primer before. These two bond together. So for the niche, there's a bit more going on that you have to make from scratch. So you want to start with these internal corners. You just then fold like this. Take a rip, fold it directly in half. And then what you want to do is rip it only halfway, and that makes the internal corner. And then what you want to do is make those all the way around, continuous and overlapping. And then there's a couple more bits, which I'll show you one other bit. And then I'll make them all quickly. So this bit will go here like this. Which will seal this line up. We fill it up with waterproof and we cut it in. This goes over the top like that. Very simple. Then you're going to do that in the uprights, across, continuous joins. So now it's all pre-cut, ready to cut in and put in, which we'll do now. So that's fully cut in and paper taped absolutely everywhere. You can see how nice and sealed up that is, especially with 2 more coats to go over the top of this. Got to roll that center bit when I roll this wall, which I'm about to do now. But you can already see, we always do 3 coats on shower niches, penetrations and shower bases, and just 2 everywhere else. But by the time that's all done, I wouldn't like to use the word impossible, but it basically is impossible to have a water related issue when you're doing it to this in-depth. In first, like this, you need to get some waterproof up on the bottom before you chuck in any of your bond breakers. So what you'll see is that. Really nice and tight. Just through this, because if you want it done right and well, you don't want any creases in this part, as it can lead to failure later. But now, get this piece, start in your corner and work your way out. because you don't want any creases in this either. And a really well done bond breaker. Barely even be able to tell that it's there. Now that we have the shower base, we can overlap a paper tape to our mesh, which then run past the shower base. Nice and clean. Now that it's all cut in, all that's left is the fun part, which is to quickly roll it out. So for the waste, that needs to be terminated down as well for regulations. And that's first coat all done. So, about to do the second coat here, which would have been the water stops. It's actually good that this happened, I guess, so I can show you. This is still wet, hasn't fully dried. It's very important, so you can see it's really shiny everywhere in the shower base, and that's because of the poly as well. But super important to not put another coat on while it's wet, because it'll split off each other and the waterproof will fail. So for now, I'll just quickly mark where the water stop is going, just so I haven't wasted my time coming here. So this is what the water stop will look like. Just slide it in there, and what will happen, I can't do it today because that's still wet, but I'll cut it in, push this down with some polyurethane, and then you mesh over the top and return the upper up a little bit, overlap here the same mesh and up, and then you just waterproof the whole thing. And that would essentially, if the shower base was to fail, the purpose of it is water should stay contained within this area. Back the next day, and you can see that it's all dry now, which is very important. That little bit, which is for me taking the plastic off of there. But yeah, get this water stop down. It's quite simple. All you really need is some polyurethane. What we want to do now is just give it a real good squeeze down and let that bleed through everywhere, and just scrape off the excess with the scraper. I already see how nice and sealed up that's going to be, and that's without any waterproof or mesh, which we'll be doing all right now. just mesh. You get all in still. So just turn it just up a bit, like so. So you can see that it's really, really nice and sealed. And then we'll still have one more coat again to do inside of this area, so extremely waterproof. So if we have a look at this already, like extremely watertight and sealed now. Wouldn't even need the third coat, but we always do it because for the 15 minutes it's going to take to come back and do these last little bits, you're just 100% guaranteed that you're never going to have a problem with anything within the shower, and that's where all your problems usually come from. Everything you always want really nice and clean lines, no daggy bits. And that's the difference, I guess, between builders who go, or tradies in general, that go above the industry standard, or the people who are doing the bare minimum. So for this water stop here, we used to just tile it in. You wouldn't waterproof it in. When you're tiling, you just slip it underneath the tile at the very end, which is the same thing, but now it's got to be waterproofed in. I don't really see the point of it too much, because if you've got so much water coming out here that's your last line of defense, I think you've got a bigger problem. So yeah, but doesn't matter if I waterproof it in or slip it in when it's tiling, it's all the same. Just come back and do everything in one whole hit, which would be, you could either call it second coat, final coat, but yeah, always do the extra in the shower base, shower niche, penetrations, the wall junction, which is just where the two walls meet. Yeah, bit overkill, but better to be overkill, especially on something like this where the extra cost in material is probably $50 to chuck, not even $50 actually, to chuck another coat in there, and barely an hour of my time. All ready for final coat, so get it on now and that'll be a fully waterproof bathroom ready for tiling. Really nice and thick. Looks really good. Quickly roll out the shower base, cut in the rest, and then fully done. Perfect. All done. Very nice and thick for the last coat. And that's fully ready, waterproof, ready for some tiles. I can guarantee that in terms of water related issues, there'll never be one when it's done to this extent. Like I said, might be a little bit overkill, but the poor man pays twice, and it's been done over 3 separate days, but collectively it's barely been 6 hours of work, I think. So doing that little bit extra, and you know you're never going to have to come back, is everything, I think, personally anyway. But yeah, I know there's other waterproofers that people use that are accelerated and they can dry within a couple of hours and they do a couple of coats in one day. But we've been using this product for like over 15 years now, never had a problem. Thanks for watching if you made it that far. I actually had heaps of fun making this style of video, so I wouldn't mind making more like that in the future. And I also promise I will be getting around to this beautiful beast of a van, the van tour. I will get around to it one day. It's a very beautiful van, and there's heaps I'd like to show in it for sure. Got the touch LEDs up here, overheads on the gas struts. Really cool van. And I should definitely make a video one day. One of my favorite things, a little sneak peek, is everything being controlled on the remote, all individually zoned, dimmable as well. Very cool. Thanks for watching, guys.